Tyrande versus Valera.
Watch your back. A loon give me strength.
God, all these cards are just so good, but they're not that good against Rogue. I think I'm just gonna toss them. So apparently this is Tempo Rogue. Don't have a dragon for my historian, unfortunately. So we'll make a 1/3 Leper Gnome. Unfortunately, this does make it more difficult to kill, so harder to get that sweet, sweet death rattle damage in. But I wanted to draw the card with Power Word Shield. Alright, put a damage on this guy so maybe I can kill it sometime soon. Damn, he's done 1 damage to me. I've done 4 damage to him. This is just embarrassing for the opponent. Now I have a 5 health lead. Damn.
There once was a man from Gilneas.
Okay, this turn is pretty easy. So we just try to find a Twilight's Call here, which we do, and we trade this off so that we get 2 things. So I thought he was Tempo Rogue because of the Firefly, but I haven't really seen anything since then to indicate it, so now especially seeing this, seems like it's just Miracle Rogue that plays Firefly for the early game. It's a really good card against some versions of Paladin. And we're just gonna beat him to death. He's basically dead already. Can't handle the Leper Gnomes, dude. God, Leper Gnome is overpowered. This card should be nerfed. I think I'm just going to keep this hand, honestly. I have the turn 1 play. These dragons are both super good. This isn't really like a great matchup for the Duskbreaker, but sometimes you do fall behind on board. They play like double Cleric and a Historian and maybe a Shadow Ascendant or something. And it can be pretty annoying. And because I'm pretty good at Hearthstone, I knew I would top deck the turn 2 play anyway. So I didn't need to mulligan for a curve. Let's draw a card here, while it's convenient. Could have gone for the Netherspite Historian instead, but I can always get a card out of the Historian, not always out of the Cleric.
You wish to live forever.
This thing has 5 health, right? So I could like bump and then heal it up to get a little bit more out of my hero power. Which is still a 3/4, which his board doesn't do very well against.
Right away.
Let's go for that, and then I'll probably just play the Netherspite Historian. Oh shit, she's a 3/3. How to math. definitely operative in this matchup. Buff 4/4. His board doesn't line up nicely against it. Easy.
You are the Shadow's puppet. I wonder.
I actually have a clear with Duskbreaker here. I Potion of Madness the 2/2, send 2/2 plus Historian into this, Duskbreaker, and then my Cleric doesn't even die. I feel like I like that line of play. So I could play the second Nether Spite, or the second Northshire, and draw 2 cards here. But I do have a lot of cards. Maybe I just want to kill this thing. I'm also getting cards out of these operatives. But like Cleric Hero Power plus Backstreet Leper just kind of works out. And with double Twilight's Call in hand, I do want to play this Backstreet Leper. Alright, I guess I'm drawing more cards. He's a Spiteful Summoner deck, isn't he? He's playing a Shadow Ascendant. So maybe I don't want to play this, especially going straight into turn 6. I have the Shadowy Brandwin, but it's off by a turn. It saves 2 of my dudes, though. These can just trade into the Spiteful Summoner and whatever it pulls. My board is pretty weak to a Duskbreaker here, but it looks like it's the Spiteful Summoner. Okay. That's a relatively weak 8-drop. I mean, maybe not even relatively weak, but it's not something I'm actually scared of. So, currently my board just straight up trades with his, which is okay with me. So I guess I just want to play a Draconid Operative and then trade off. I want another Draconid Operative, right? Yeah, we'll just trade off. Play the Shadow Ascendant. I could have maybe at some point in there healed one of my clerics or something instead of playing the Shadow Ascendant. But like, he has 6 cards, I have 8 cards, and 3 of my cards are Draconid Operatives. So I think I'm doing okay on value. So I can just play Shadow Reaper Anduin here, straight up kills his 6/7. But with all the like free from Ambers and Spiteful Summoners and stuff in his deck, even though I've seen 1, the Shadow Reaper Anduin is still pretty strong. So maybe I just go for a Draconid Operative turn. Seems like that could be strong. Mind Control is a pretty good card in this matchup. Let's get the Leper out. And I guess I'm going to trade off my Shadow Ascendant. I think it's fine.
Oh, what's this one do? I tried this.
Not my Backstreet Leper. You son of a bitch. How am I going to use my Twilight's Calls now? Well, these guys deal 7 to this, which is pretty relevant. And then I guess I do whatever I want with the rest of my mana, which is probably just going to be Draconid Operative and Nether Spite Historian. Free from Amber's a heck of a card. So is Nether Spite Historian, though. I have some really fat cards in my hands. I think I'll just take the Historian. Speaking of really fat cards, let's take the Drake, though. Heal this guy up so that the Backstreet Leper doesn't kill it. Well, that's getting mind controlled for sure. And then on his turn, it's probably getting mind controlled again, honestly. So maybe that's not even the play, actually. I could go like bump, Duskbreaker, bump. There's a small chance that the obsidian statue kills my other operative, which would be a real bummer. But then I guess I could always just throw an abomination in the way. It's not like an optimal play, but it's not terrible. It's just so likely that the obsidian statue kills this, because the Duskbreaker actually kills both of these. I guess I could Duskbreaker first, heal this guy, and then bump, but then I can't play abomination. Alright. Alright. These trades are super inefficient, but I really don't want to take like 9 damage or whatever it was if he has a mind control here. He doesn't have a mind control. This is okay though, I think. Oh, I mean, this is just the Shadow Reaper Anduin turn, right?
The light has betrayed me.
I decided 2 health on me was worth more than 2 health on him.
Secret agent coming through. You are not welcome here.
Why are all my death rattles buried? I just want to do a bunch of damage to him with Gn'Zoth. Is that too much to ask for? Actually, I guess I probably just want to revive an obsidian statue with my Twilight's Call. And then next turn I revive 2 obsidian statues, and then I play Gn'Zoth and he finally gives up, even though this game's been over for a long time. Well, I guess it hasn't really been over. As much as I have the card advantage, he definitely had a health advantage for a while. Not gonna bump, huh? So I definitely want to play the Twilight's Call here, because it seems dope. So what if I bump here, play the Breaker, kills these 2, and then the Obsidian Statue kills one of these. We hero power the other and play Twilight's Call. And apparently we have more mana, so we do this. Okay. Damn, he's got a 4-2. Watch out. Alright, do you give up yet? Is Gn'Zoth into 4 obsidian statues good enough?
You have been.
Nice. After playing about 50 games with this deck, I ended up on a 42% win rate, which honestly, with Leper Gnome in my deck, I'll fucking take it. But despite playing so many games, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the list. When you consider the archetype we're going for, there are just very few flex slots. You have to keep your 2 Leper Gnomes, your 2 Backstreet Lepers, 2 Abominations, and Gn'Zoth. You have to have all the Dragon Package stuff because the Dragon Package is just too good. You're playing the Priest class, so you need 2 Northshire Clerics. I'd say Shadow Reaper Anduin is pretty core just because it does so much damage. And obviously the Twilight's Call, forgot to mention that with the Gn'Zoth package. And then at that point, all you're really left with is the 2 copies of Shadow Ascendant, which I think are pretty good in the deck, and then the Spell package. And I do think the Spell package felt like the weakest part of the deck. Twilight's Call is definitely cool when you play it, but I'm not sure it's actually powerful enough that you need to be searching it with Shadow Visions. And it feels like with the tempo hit you're taking by playing Shadow Visions, the other spells you can put in don't really reward you enough. I ended up cutting the Mind Blast for Potion of Madness, just because it's a thing that I can play in the same turn as the Shadow Visions to help me on the board. But even that feels pretty underwhelming sometimes. I feel like the Shadow Visions rot in my hand pretty often, because I really just want to be playing dudes on the board. So if I was going to change anything about the deck, the 2 Shadow Visions, and the 2 Potion of Madness, and then maybe from there the 2 Power Word Shields, would definitely be the cards I'd be looking at cutting. My worst matchup by far was Dude Paladin, so something that's good against that would be pretty helpful. Not really sure what it would be. Maybe you could just play like Firefly or something, so you have another turn 1 play to kill dudes. And just in general, it gives you a 1-drop in other matchups. And I think this is kind of an aggro deck, so more 1-drops can't hurt. And then, I'm not sure really, maybe you play like Cabal Talon Priest in that other slot or something, maybe Curious Glimmerroot. It's really hard for me to think of anything that I would be excited to change about this deck. But like I said, the spell package is kinda sketchy. You could also just cut all of the spells, including Twilight's Call, and just make it a Spiteful Summoner deck. But I think that makes the deck significantly less interesting, because at that point you're just playing Spiteful Summoner Priest with some shitty Death Rattle minions. But I guess that's kind of what we're playing right now anyway, right?